Sometimes a single comment can spark an entire nebula of thought, and one such thing happened after the last video I made. The video itself mentioned Antifa, and I called them basically anarchists who like to start riots. One of the comments I received was something to the effect of, "I protest with an Antifa group and we do so peacefully, and it's not okay to lump me in with the violent ones." And that really got me thinking, did I make the mistake of judging an entire group based on the actions of a few? I thought about it for a while, and while I normally wouldn't want to judge a group like this, I couldn't help but feel like I wasn't in the wrong for doing so. When you don the uniform of a group and you march with that group, you are part of that group, for better or for worse. If that group is known for doing something you don't like and you don't distance yourself from it, I don't feel that you can be too upset when people lump you in with others from that group. Now, I try to relate everything back to something I'm familiar with and is personal to me when I think about things like this. For the most part, that's going to be furries. So let's apply those same rules that I just mentioned to myself. What sort of illegal activities are furries known for? Well, unfortunately, some do fuck animals, and it's not very common, but it happens. And furries do have a sort of uniform, with their fursuits. So going by my own logic, if I were to put on a fursuit and stand in a crowd of furries, am I just as guilty as the few who do have sex with animals? But I feel there is a major difference between the group dynamic of furries and Antifa. For one, the Antifa uniform, the all black with masks, is meant to obscure your identity and make you blend in with the crowd. That's the purpose of the black bloc. And while the furry uniform does cover your face and obscure your personal identity, it's also part of an alter ego. It's not about blending in with a crowd. You're just taking on the role of someone else. I can still look into a crowd and say, "Oh, I know who this person is, and I know who this person is," even though they have their fursuits on. I think this is an important distinction because while the act of wearing a mask is the same between the two groups, the purpose for it is completely opposite. In fact, furries would be harder to distinguish between without their fursuits. One uniform is to obscure your identity, and one is to celebrate it. Now, the second argument is by far the most important, and that is, when a furry does something illegal, other furries disavow them. We say, "No, that's not okay, this is not what we do." My question to you, Antifa commenter, is when an Antifa member starts a fire or breaks a window or incites any kind of rioting, do you disavow them? Because from what I've seen, not only does your group generally not disavow them, but they cheer in support of them. They post things all over social media talking about how this violence is a good thing. If you are part of a group and some of that group does something you don't approve of or does something illegal in connection to your group, it is your duty to call them out. It is your duty to tell people that this is not how you want your group represented. Do you do that? Or do you stand on the sidelines and cheer whenever someone punches another person for their political views? If the year was 1940 and I was a Nazi, and I donned a Nazi uniform and I marched with other Nazis, would I be able to say, "Not all Nazis are bad. I mean, I'm not bad. I've personally never killed any Jews"? Just something to think about.